Good. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to just call the following judges. Mel Anderson in chair number 1 down the end. Mark Rosetto in 2. Sarah McKenna. Well, pass the chair over to the table. That's it. Adam Horan and Julie Ewing, please. Julie just here on number 5. Rightio. Okay. Well, I'd like to welcome you all to the judging of the 2018 AIPP newborn category, and it's sponsored by the AIPP. My name's Alison, and I'll be your panel chair for this session. And our judging panel consists of Mel Anderson, Mark Rosetto, Sarah McKenna, Adam Horan, Julie Ewing. We also have at the ready Robin Campbell, William Long, Roxanne. Oh, they got it the other way. Sorry. Roxanne Gorman. And that's it. Okay, now that we've played Pass the Parcel, is that the next game? All right. Okay, the newborn category embraces imagery of infants up to 3 months of age. The judges are asked to reward excellence in lighting, posing, composition and camera technique, as well as creativity and imagination. Newborn is defined as an infant up to 3 months of age, calculated from the date of delivery, if full term, or the due date if premature. Entries into this category must be commissioned by the family or families of the newborn depicted in the entry. Images of immediate family members cannot be entered. Elements within the entry must be captured within 24 months of the award's closing date, and the images may contain other people, including family members, pets or animals, so long as the newborn is one of the main point of focus and the image was taken during the newborn session. Okay, everyone ready? We right out the back? Could we have the first image, please? This image has scored 77. We have a challenge. We have a challenge from Mark Rosetto on 83. But Mark, can I warn you, we've got everyone else on 75, 76, 77.
Welcome back. What a great way to start the day. So I've scored this 83 silver award from the perspective of showing something that's a little bit more creative than the normal newborn shoot that you would normally have. This is a great perspective that the photographers thought outside the box. I feel that the way that they've created the image is interesting and a little bit more innovative than just putting them a vertical shot looking down at two twins together, wrapped up together, that's presented a different image. I think that the way that the photographers controlled the lighting on the top of the heads, that it's quite dark, but you've still got lots of detail in the hair, in the blanket, that it's a perfect horizontal line, and the focus spot is conflicting to be whether it's on the hands or on the face, and I'm kind of torn between should it be, and I like that it's on the face because they're looking at each other and they're friends. They're kind of like they're touching hands, and I'll just award the photographer for presenting something that's a little bit more interesting.
Thank you. And Mel? Yes, you get your own.
Got me?
Yeah.
Cool. Look, I really enjoy the moment that has been seen and has been photographed here. I scored this 75. I saw approaching award standard in professional practice range. There's a couple of reasons why I did that. I did find the lighting, I found the heads were very dominant with the darkness there, and it just draws me in. Compositionally, I found that if this connection is about the connection of these two children, I want to be drawn into that. Whereas at the moment, I find that I'm drawn by the feet and the hands in different areas, the lack of fall off sort of from the blanket. And even the toes, when you go up, they're really contrasty, you know, with your blacks and your whites, and so I'm really drawn into there. So I enjoy all of the aspects that Mark has raised. I just, for a silver award, I want to see it sit up a little bit more in some of those particular areas with handling.
Adam seems to be really keen to say something.
Look, I would just, again, and what Mel has said is what I think, I find myself sort of distracted by what I don't want to be looking here, that every little bit that juts out takes me away, and then when I go for the face, there's not a whole, like, the perspective really doesn't show me anything about the baby apart from that little thing, which is a great, you know, it's a good concept. I just think perhaps it's not quite communicating what we really want it to communicate, but there's a very solid professional practice in mind.
Okay, and we might ask Mark to have right of reply.
Yeah. For giving us something different and for the visual impact. I love the shapes that the twins bring out together. If the lighting was shot in a different perspective, the heads will be so bright, and this is a high contrast, like a monochrome impact kind of shot. It's not supposed to be cute baby face squidgy, you know, it's more a visually impacting rather than wanting to see face or more hands or more. It's the photographers thought outside the box to give us something that is a little bit kind of different. Hearing all the different perspectives that you're talking about, there's nothing there that makes me go, oh yeah, I see where you're coming from. It's communicating something that's a bit kind of different, that's presenting us with a different perspective that we don't normally see. It's more what I'm looking for. It's a striking image in terms of visually representation rather than just a couple of babies that are put together on a blanket.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Mark's score of 83 stays. Everyone else has a chance to rescore. Judges, could you please enter your scores? It's this printer scored 79. Not at state. Next print, please. This image has scored an average of 75. I might ask Julie, would you like to comment on the print, please?
Yeah, it's very beautiful, and I looked at it as a very high level of professional standard. It is what is expected when somebody brings their newborn to you. It's well treated, the colours work really well, and I think well done to the photographer. It's of good professional standard.
Thank you kindly. Next image, please. This image has scored a silver award at 82. And we have a challenge from Julie sitting on 88. We've got 2 judges on 82, 1 on 81 and 1 on 78.
Problem when you get old, needing different glasses. I thought this was beautiful, and a lot of imagination and thought has gone into this. I think the photographer has really, gone beyond the usual and thought of a different way, and that's presenting a family tree. Down around the roots of the plant we have various names that I imagine are the family that have, brought then forward this child, and up in the leaves above it has the name of this child as it's, going to come from the nest and fly out and, join the family. So I just thought it's beautifully presented. The colour tones used within it, from the earth to the tree, I thought was very well presented. The baby's really delicate and beautiful, and I thought there was a far more imagination put into this, and it is deserved of a silver with distinction. So I think we could all have another look at the process that's gone into presenting this image.
Okay, I'll ask Adam, sitting on 78. You're down there on your own, no?
Yeah, certainly. I appreciate the elements that are there. Perhaps being a little harsh on it at first look. What drew me away from it? I feel a little constricted in the image. I feel like the tree and the roots are sort of things that I associate with growing, and they feel like they're hemmed in by the crop a little bit. And all of those names, when I found them, are really good. I find it's a little muddy in the tones down there. I'm really struggling to see what's in there. And look, I think I can come up into silver because I do appreciate the concept and the time, and obviously what in the genre we're dealing with here. As for silver distinction, I just feel a little hemmed in by a few of those technical issues I'd like to hear about.
And I'll ask Mark sitting on right on.
Yep, happy to respond. I'm on 82 in silver award. Similar to what Adam was saying, the words in the leaves are placed beautifully well. I really love how they're placed, but I feel the words and the names in the roots are kind of just kind of slapped on top of it, like a little bit more thought process. Like you've got words going through roots and leaves, and it's kind of like if that was tidied up a little bit, and I know it's supposed to be really kind of interacting in things and the family tree, but I was delighted to see the words, but the placement of the words just didn't get me up that much. So yeah.
Okay, Julie, right of reply.
I'm not sure how the words would be changed amongst the roots. And I suppose being able to visually bring forward to us what it's trying to convey, for me. So I found the communication there to be of a high standard, extremely high standard. So, look, as for your muddiness, it's got browns in there and so on, but the baby's not muddy, and that's the central part of the image. So the rest is sort of, I guess, the story behind it that leads us to this baby. I do believe it to be of a very high visual standard, so somebody will like to just give us another few points and let's award this nicely.
Okay. So Julie's score of 88 stays. Everyone else can re-enter, please. We have a score of 84, a silver award. Our first one for the morning. Next print, please. This image has scored an average of 73. And we might ask Mark to have a word towards this one.
Okay, so I scored this 74, which is
Right
standard.
on average.
Yeah, right on average, standard practice. Just the lighting. Watch your lighting direction. Controlling your light would be a big one, and plus your print quality above the head. But it all comes down to the lighting. If you read the light kind of right, it'll fix a lot of the issues that it had with the printing.
Thank you kindly. Yeah, very quickly.
Just very quickly too, maybe have a look at the print quality. That is what it sort of brought me back into that professional standard. It falls off very quickly into the blacks, into the print, and if there's more detail there, that will assist maybe in making it a bit more successful. But really have a look at the print quality and how quickly it falls off into the black.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Since I did give this the high score, I should comment on it. And I agree totally with all your print handling things. I looked at it though, and from here I thought, is that a banana? Is it a seed pod I saw out in the driveway? But it's actually a boomerang with Made in Australia. And then I thought, well, we see so many stories on IVF babies now. And that was a little quirky and different in that it's handmade in Australia. Is that another IVF story? So I think with some improved print handling within this, because looking up on the screen up there, it looks amazing. So, it could bring it up. It's quirky expression. In fact, it's an awesome expression from the baby and so on. And then if they're telling that little story within it, they could really bring it up.
Thank you. Okay. Next print, please. This image has scored an average of 72. And we might ask Adam to have a word. He's right on the average.
I will ask you soon.
I think the main issue I saw in this is maybe a touch, I'm not going to assume what it is, but in the skin and in some of the hand, there appears to be a little bit of over-sharpening or artifacting that really pulls back and gives a texture that doesn't sort of lend itself to the rest of the image. So maybe have a look at the post-production on the photograph too, as a starting point.
Okay. Yes, Mel.
I'm actually, I'm the lowest in this, but I really do enjoy the moment, and I just wanted to say this moment is beautiful. Again, technical areas that took me back from lighting, composition, things like that, but the moment is absolutely beautiful, so I want to reward the honesty and authenticity in that, just in letting the photographer know.
Excellent. Okay, next print, please. This image has scored an average of 89, a silver with distinction. And we have a challenge, and I'm going to take the challenge from Julie, sitting on 93. You have Mark with you on 92, so you haven't got far with the others.
Yes, I've awarded this a medium gold. I wish I'd actually gone higher. This is outstanding communication, absolutely beautifully printed. The detail and everything in there, the cocoons, the leaves, it is absolutely beautiful. I haven't seen anything like this before, so to me this is a unique, creative image. The story in it, again, it runs your imagination to the story of the other cocoon with a couple of feathers left. Is this a story of two babies and one didn't survive? Is it a story of a sibling who has since left the cocoon and is older? There's so many ways you can interpret the image. I think it is extraordinarily handled. It really is a stunning piece, and it's actually deserved of gold with distinction. So perhaps we could look at a bit higher.
Okay. To ask Sarah, because she's here.
Hi.
So Sarah's sitting on 88.
So I did score in silver with distinction, and after sitting back and having a good look, looking at the list and listening to Julie, I do believe it is up in a gold with distinction, and I was a tad harsh. The story is beautiful. As one who photographs quite often a similar story of as Julie said, perhaps twins with one not making it and still having the other twin, the way to visually represent that has been seen a lot, but never like this. This is absolutely stunning. The print quality is beautiful. The handling of the background and having all the elements sit just beautifully within that, but in front of, is stunning. And I do believe it's gold with distinction as well. I'm happy to come up.
Yeah, we'll go for Mark. I'll let you talk at 92 as well.
Yeah, the only reason why I didn't go further is the innovative. Like we've seen the concept before. Yes, it hasn't been delivered in with a cocoon, but it's not something that we haven't seen before. But I'm going gold award to do everything else that it says with the emotional impact and everything else that the other two have kind of said. So I'm sitting really nicely at 92. Congratulations to the photographer. Let's just get them over the line.
And, okay. Yep, Julie, right of reply.
So if we've seen this story before, but how extraordinary is it that somebody has come up with a completely unique and different concept again to tell us that story? And that's why I want to award it a gold with distinction. I mean, I can't fault that print. That is absolutely beautiful. That colour palette to me is just absolutely beautiful. So I really wish I'd given this higher. Can I?
You can't
no,
change,
see?
not on.
So I can't, but you all can.
Okay.
Let's give it a gold with distinction.
So as we said, Julie's score of 93 stays. And we have a gold award at 93. And with that, we might have a judge's change, please. Could I have Adam, would you mind stepping back and William coming in, please? And hang on a sec. And I might get Julie and Robin to swap, please. And we'll do a judge change again in a few more. As we said, we've got a good range of judges here that we can... I want to give you all the a good chance to enjoy the judging. Okay, we ready? Next print, please. Yeah, I do, but Sarah, she wasn't that far. We have an average score of 80, which is a silver award. And we have a challenge, yes? Okay, we have a challenge from Mark on 88. And I've got to, you've got two down in the 70s, a 71 and a 78. So you're on your lonesome with silver with distinction.
That's all right. I'm quite often on my lonesome sometimes. Superior distinction, superior visual communication. Look, this is the fence. This is one of those panel splitters where you kind of go, you can look at it from two sides of the fence here. And the fact that it is a photograph, that it's been handled in a completely different way that I've ever seen before anywhere to make it look like a stencil is what I'm rewarding it for as well. The innovation part of it is really fantastic. Now, in terms of capturing the moment and capturing the shot, you have to be able to work with something to start with. And the fact that the photographer's got the perfect angle for those eyelashes to come out, and all the crinkles and all the wrinkles are in the right spots, is what I'm really rewarding the photographer for, to really be able to think about it, that he's crinkled the baby on the, or she crinkled the baby on the one side. The one day is nice and beautifully placed. I'm awarding the photographer for just going totally outside the box to present something that's completely different, but I'm not judging on it just completely different. The way that the baby's positioned and the way that the baby's kind of looking and being placed to capture all the right hairs to fall in the right spots is what I'm also rewarding the photographer for.
Okay.
So I'm going for some extra points.
Now, I'm going to go to Mel next and then William. So Mel's sitting on 71.
Yep. So I put this in the professional standard section. I guess with this, I certainly agree with Mark that it's innovative in terms of what has been presented in front of us. I think the issue is that I have to look at this as a graphic image because that's what's presented to me. So when I'm looking back at my criteria, in order to, and I obviously looked at that to try and say, well, where do I score this? And I have to look at if I'm looking at the image then in front of me, the graphic image. I don't find the posing particularly pleasing. The composition, I find that I'm quite held on that side. So when I'm looking at it as a graphic image, but looking at all of the other areas that I've got to consider, that's where I'm putting it into the professional practice. I think the innovation is great and I think the technique is great. I just find that for me, this particular example of it just hasn't worked in a award classification.
Okay.
Okay. I gave it 78 for all the reasons you said, Mark. But I sort of think this is one of those dangerous times to challenge because I actually honestly believe that silver was a very good score for it. The composition, that's when we start looking at the photographic elements here. Composition, the left arm looks like it's going straight into the baby's mouth. It doesn't look like a perfect, I think as you said, the eyelashes. Yeah, I gave it 78 because I was rewarding it for all of those things, but if I then start to look at it and start to deconstruct it, I think I was far too generous in giving it 78, I'm afraid.
Now, with this one splitting the judges, I'm going to let everyone have a word before Mark gets his right of reply. So, Robin, would you like to go next, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on 83. I believe this is a solid silver award. I too enjoyed the sketch-like quality to this image. And as soon as it came around, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Gee, I haven't seen that sort of image presentation style before." And I really enjoyed the uniqueness. I think then my business brain sort of switched on, and I went, what a great concept. People would become specifically to get this kind of style because it's new, it's different, it's fresh. I then looked at the photographic elements and I was really puzzled with the way that the baby was propped, and my brain is constantly trying to figure out, so is that blanket, what exactly is going on there? But what I've resolved too is compositionally it actually sits really, really beautifully. I love the hand coming in on one side and it actually flows really nicely with the text. There's something about the positioning that, yes, it does look awkward, but at the same there's purpose in it. So I'm still solidly silver award and believe it should definitely stay there. And we should be rewarding this level of creativity.
Okay, Sarah on 81.
I deliberated for a while. I think I may have been the last judge to put a score in because I was erring between that 78 to 81. And I found this probably the most difficult image I've ever judged. I think it's fabulous that the photographer has put it in and taken the for that. It's always great to have a whole panel want to have a discussion about your photograph and some great comments that have been made. I agree very much with Mel Anderson in regards to the pose. For me it feels just very awkward and it really takes away from the image for me. I find the communication beautiful, the composition sits lovely, and for me, when I decided on putting it just inside the silver award at 81, I do believe that's where it does sit for me.
Okay, now Mark, right of reply.
Fantastic. Love the discussion. So super cool. I'm at 88. What I would love it to do is that every point counts. Every single point counts. In addressing the concerns and the discussion that we have got, as that raw, sketchy sketch, if it was placed like perfectly perfect, like I love the rawness and I love the flow with lighting and how the baby's put in all the right spots. If you had the other left hand out as well, I just think that I'm going to all the right spots. I'm going to the one day, then I'm flowing, then I'm going to the hand and going to the eyes, and from the eyes go down to one day, and I'm just keep on doing circles. I would love to maybe not go to silver distinction then, but it's the eyes that keeps on going around. Every point counts. Let's reward the photographer for just thinking really outside the box.
Thank you. Now, mark your score of 88 stays, and everyone else has an opportunity to rescore. And has gone up to 81. Silver award. Okay. Next print, please. This image has scored an average of 79. And before we move on, Sarah, very quickly on 78.
I really enjoyed the concept of this image. It has a real worker in the fields, having a baby and continuing on to work sort of feel about it. There are issues for me with the skin tone. I would love to see the skin tones worked a bit more clearly on to get a bit more balance of colour throughout the baby.
Thank you kindly. Okay. Next print, please. This image has scored almost unanimously 75. And Sarah, very quickly.
The elements within this image are beautiful. The background and the leaf sit lovely. The baby on its own doesn't quite sit within the image. It just needs embedding a bit more thought taken about how that leaf would actually sit with the baby in it, and just blending the baby in a bit more to be in the position.
Excellent. Thank you. Next print, please. This image has scored 74. And Mark, do you want to... Oh, okay, Robin? On 75?
Yeah, absolutely love the concept here. I'd really implore the photographer to go back and have a look at your lighting techniques and learn a little bit more about how to delicately light a subject, hold the highlights and so forth, and focus. So yeah, more work in terms of shooting the subject individually, and the creativity is amazing. You could probably go a long way.
Thank you kindly. Next print, please. This image has scored a silver with distinction at 87, and we have a challenge from Mel on 92. Now, Mel, you've got Mark with you on 91, and the others aren't that far away.
I love this image. It is so awesome. I enjoy the concept, the communication, the message. This is visually so powerful, the message in this, you know. It's so raw, and that's what I really enjoy about this. Is innovative. We've, you know, obviously we have a message of postnatal depression. We have the light and the darkness, the shade. We have, you know, curled up into that position with the mum, the baby that's distressed. It's such an honest and real image that reflects what happens in society. You know, this is the realness and the rawness. The contrasts are beautiful. It's not meant to be beautiful, and I guess that's my point, that I'm not looking for delicate skin softening and things like this. I want this to be raw and honest and confronting and a little bit ugly in a way to offend me, to sort of say what's going on and how do we fix this. So this has visually, it's got a strong message. It's beautifully done. I would love to see it come up into a gold, and I'd love to chat about it.
William on 84.
I'd love to be with you there. I do think it's awesome. Okay. I think it's amazing. I think it's all of those things that we can say, but the message comes across clearly. But we also then want to look at those things that are down on our gold award. Remarkable technique. That print quality is not awesome. That print quality, the burning in on the right-hand side, which I can't avoid looking at the monitor, it's not there. It's a shame. I could be talked to silver distinction, but emotionally, I won't be swayed just by my emotion here, because I do think it's something that needs to be improved on, and I would urge the author to improve it.
Okay, I'm going to ask Sarah, sitting on 86, which is very close to the average.
I'm very comfortable at 86 for the moment. I understand your point of view, Mel, in the range. For me, what I'd love to discuss with you is the emotion obviously gets me. It gets me straight away. When you say the rawness, I kind of would like to see it a bit more raw. It seems very well placed. It doesn't seem as chaotic as it could be for this kind of message. The one visual part that I'm finding quite distracting is the wall in between them. It quite work for me. It's not technically incorrect, which is why I'm very happy in silver with distinction, but for me it draws away from the impact of the message. And the back of Mark's head is that it could be done a little bit better. Unfortunately, I don't have any suggestions as to how, but that is why I'm happy in the silver with distinction range.
Okay, Mel, I'll ask for your right of reply.
Thank you, judges. I think that wall, for me, I want that wall to be there because that is my division. That's the line in the sand. This is this world and this is this side. You know, that this is the isolation in something that should be connected. So for me, if it was in the same room or the wall wasn't there, I wouldn't feel that as strongly. This is different spaces, and that's why I think that wall's there. And yes, William, I understand, you know, in terms of that darkness on the right-hand side with that image. To me, I don't want this. I want this to feel uncomfortable, and I don't want this to be pretty. And that's why I feel so comfortable with this, because this feels so untouched, so you know, dark and murky, and beyond is that the bed is, you know, for me, I just think visually, when I look at the criteria of gold, which sits as outstanding, communication, interpretation, creativity, and emotional impact. That's where I'm sitting, saying I haven't seen this before. This is powerful. This is strong. It evokes emotion. This is innovative in this category, and I see it as a gold. Yeah.
Okay. Mel, your score of 92 stays. Everyone else has the opportunity to rescore if they see fit. This image has scored a silver with distinction at 89. Next print, please. We have a silver with distinction at 85. Robin, yes, you're on 87.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a quick comment. This image could definitely go further with a little bit more care and consideration of some of the Photoshop work. We can see some lines and things where it's been cut out. I particularly enjoy in this image all the different textures and felts and things used throughout it. So I do implore the photographer, go back, have another little bit of a go with your Photoshop, and just try and make it all seem a little bit more seamless.
Excellent. I'm going to have a judge's change. Mel, would you swap, please, with Roxanne? There's always one, isn't there? And Sarah with Selena, please. Okay, I'm just going to very quickly pop these in before... Hang on, where are we? And... could we have the next print, please? Yeah. We have a silver award at 83. Selena, I'll let you have a word quickly. You're right on the average there.
Hello. This has great visual impact. It's beautifully done. For me, I think to take it up into a gold, on that right-hand side, the baby is not quite centered into the flower. So a little bit more attention to detail and sort of stuff, I think would be. But other than that, it's a very beautifully, it's
Excellent.
a really nice print. So
Thank you. Next print, please. Okay. Adam, would you step in? Julie, would you step in for William, please? We have a silver award at 83. Next print, please. This image is a silver award at 82. Next print, please. And this image has scored 75. Mark, would you like to say something?
I scored this professional standard, 76, and just the placement of the hands, especially the right hand one, the thumbs just in kind of no man's land, and just state control of your blacks in the hair. But I'm sure the family would love this on their wall.
Thank you. Next print, please. This image has scored 73. And Robin, would you like to say something quickly?
Yeah, I think the photographer's captured some gorgeous emotions, particularly the way that the little baby mimics the girl. Serious issues in terms of camera quality, though. The file's really, really falling apart. So I just implore the photographer to perhaps, when you're shooting, do a higher resolution and be a lot more careful with the quality of your overall image.
Thank you kindly. Next. Okay, now. This image has scored 75. And Robin, would you like to have a word about?
Yeah, I've put this in the professional practice range. I'd like to see more work in terms of the lighting. So obviously we've got backlighting here and they've pushed and pushed and pushed to get enough details throughout the file. Perhaps in future, just even a card in front to bounce a bit of light back in so you didn't need to push the file so far to get the contrast. So yeah, work on your lighting techniques. I think there's a little bit of a sense of humour here which is coming through, which is lovely.
Thank you. Next print, please. We have a silver award by majority of 84. Not quite. Even though two of you are on 88, it's not quite enough. Okay. But we might just very quickly change judges. Mark for Adam. Yep. Yes. Selena, would you... yeah, Selena.
Hello. This has got great visual impact. The colour palette is just beautiful. I love it. For me, I would have gone a little bit higher if the wings on the left-hand side were a little bit lighter, like they're just a little bit too dark compared to the ones on the right. And I also noticed if you're going to take this to APA, be mindful of the texture. In the background on the right-hand side, the texture is almost straight. On the right-hand side in the bottom corner, there's some vertical lines that come into it that doesn't quite match the rest of the image.
Sorry, sad face, because I was one of the ones on 88. I thought it was a beautiful print. I'm not sure it needs the lines from the right. They could be toned down a lot more. I know what you're going for. I actually thought it was a beautiful image, beautiful face, beautiful expression. Really matched it. So I'd take it back and have a little bit of a rework of taking everything into consideration.
Thank you. Next print, please. We have a majority score of 84 and a challenge by William on it. Now, this is an automatic challenge. Okay, William is sitting on 94. He's 10 points out ahead. Now, with an automatic challenge, William only gets to speak once, but you all get a chance. So away you go, William. You've got 2 on 3 on 84 and 1 on 78.
Okay. You'll keep. All right. What a fabulous colour palette. Just sensational. Sensational print. Beautiful. That skin tone's like gold. And that's what we're looking at here. It's a gold image. It's a beautiful story. It's peaceful. It's relaxing. Is that innovative? Yeah, I believe so. It came across as soon as it came out. A fantastic message, very peaceful message, a very subtle message. So I implore you. I won't speak long because I honestly don't think it needs it. I'm surprised anyone's below 84, but everyone sees things differently, and I would contest out. I'm just way ahead. I'm just seeing something that really appeals to me personally. I love that story. Yeah, I think it's outstanding gold.
Sitting on 78, but you're out on your own there too.
Yeah, I'll admit I'm 78, and I'll admit that I've probably underscored it. For me, that golden skin tone was actually what pulled me down. I felt it was a bit too yellow, and that the image overall was a little bit too yellow. I also don't quite get what the story is, so I'm happy to listen and happy to obviously listen to what everyone else has to say. And yeah, I'll bring my score up.
Roxanne, you've grabbed that mic very quickly, so
I did. I'm really pleased to be able to speak to this print. It is
beautifully it's beautifully composed. Having stepped back and looking at it again, there's a couple of elements that I had missed that I think add to the story. The beautiful look on that teddy bear's face adds a quirkiness to it that I think is just really delightful. The things that had initially held me back was there's a highlight on the baby's nose that is the first thing that I see, and it really, I know I may have been harsh with that. I also felt that the skin tones were a touch on the yellow-green side. But I think that there's a beautiful quality to this, and we're looking at professional excellence, and I do think this is a good example, so I'll be coming up.
Adam on 84 as well.
Initially, I was actually a bit disappointed we weren't going to get a right reply, because I was going to ask a few questions, because I think at first glance, at everything we said before, palette I find it really beautiful. I think the skin tones match everything in the frame and do all that. But I think my first initial impact was it is as it is on the label. Like, there's nothing past that initial impact. But I think the more that I look at it, and the more that I look at the definition for gold, and I think about remarkable technique. Yeah, it's definitely remarkable technique. Is there emotional impact? Well, absolutely there is. And the more I look at it, and yes, I did look at that highlight on the nose, but the more I look at that, it kind of gives that little button shape to it as well. I'm really, the more I look at it, the more I'm just sort of throwing my initial sort of prejudice out the window and just going, it is a remarkable image, and I will come to gold.
Okay. Yep. Seeing we're talking about a gold opportunity here, Robin?
Yeah, I'm right on the average on 84, and I'm actually really keen to keep it there. Beautiful image, beautiful concept, love all the propping. But for me, I'm really, really struggling, because for me, it's about the bear. You know, I'm like, wow, what a great portrait of a bear. That's gorgeous. Looking at the camera, it's so cute. Oh, and there's a baby in there. And it's kind of really jarring with me in terms of the beautiful propping and the beautiful styling. Almost is sort of the dominant feature over and above the baby. And it's sort of like I almost feel as if the baby's lost within there. Gold award in terms of propping, styling. Gosh, I love that bed. Absolutely stunning. You know, brings me back to perhaps what a baby slept in 150 years ago. But I was happy at 84 simply because I feel that the baby's been really, really lost within. I'd love the baby to be more dominant within the image. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, now as a automatic challenge, everybody gets to change their score. So even though William doesn't get right of reply, he can change his score if he sees fit. So could you all please enter a score? We've gone to a definite silver with distinction at 89. Thank you, judges. That was great. Next print, please. Could you have a blank screen and check the orientation? Please. This image has scored 77. Yep. Adam on 76.
Look, quite a well-crafted professional image. Again, I'm a little distracted by the texture is quite busy, and we're kind of lighting that texture from there. It goes from very, very bright to very, very dark very quickly, and I'm distracted. That is probably what stops me from going a little bit higher.
Thank you kindly. Next print, please.
Got it. Often just needs a refresh.
Yeah. We have a silver award at 80. William, very quick comment.
Yeah, nicely handled. How make this better? I just sort of looked at the sides and sort of did wonder if a square station would score it higher. Just a question.
Yes. This image has scored 77. Could we have a quick judges change, please? Robin and William, could we swap for Mel and Julie? Sorry? Yes, that'd be great, Selena.
Just wanted to provide just a little bit of feedback for the author on this one. The highlights, the yellow highlights that appear in that right-hand corner and at the very top above the baby's head are really distracting. I don't feel that they need to be there. I feel that they could actually be taken out. And just make sure your skin tone, your colours for your skin tones and stuff are well handled, because I feel that it is a little bit yellowy green in terms of the skin.
Excellent. Thank you. Next print, please. This image has scored 74. And Adam, sitting on 71?
I think what well sort of styled, I guess, a shot that a client would like. I find the skin tone bold especially within the palette of the surrounding image. And I don't think it sort of really pushes forward the baby as much as it should. And that's just the initial impression I get from looking at the print.
Thank you. Next print, please. This image has scored by majority 84, and we have a challenge from Julie sitting on 93. Now, you've got Mel on 92 up there with you, so I will accept that challenge.
So what are our other scores? Yeah. Oh, come on, guys. It's interesting everyone jumped up and I sat back because I'm thinking, is that a bat? What are we looking at? But then, you know, then when you just see what the image actually is, it goes, whoa, that's just incredible. So we've got this reverse silhouette with the baby and the parents looking in, and it is one of those pieces that this family would have hanging on their wall, and people would come in and stare at it and go, oh, that's an odd piece of art. Oh, hang on a minute. And then when they get it, they just go, oh, that's just the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I think it's so well done, and just a really clever, innovative family portrait with a newborn that I think it was quite extraordinary and deserved of a gold.
Adam on 82.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. The initial impact. Am I up? Quiet from the cheap seats. Look, I absolutely agree, and I spotted it from back here, and we have seen this arrangement done a few times in silhouette, and as soon as I spotted it from back here, the reverse silhouette, and I got up, and it's not. I don't find any part of the outline crisp at all, and I really want to know why. Like every part I look at, it's soft in around the edges, and there's no. No, it's not. I double checked. Don't you worry. But I just find it like I really wanted it to be really crisp and really clear, and yet I see sort of almost a softness. Now maybe there's a reason for that, but that's really what pulled me back from this image. And if I'm absolutely listening, because I completely agree with you on the impact and the originality. But on my impression of it at the moment, I can't get it into sort of superior communication, because to me it's just that little the element is lost, is bringing it back for me. I want to hear what other opinions about it.
Okay, Mel on 92.
Yeah, I'm not good at doing these what do you see things. They take me forever. So I actually thought I was looking for like baby bite marks into like a bicky or something. So it took me a bit of time to actually figure it out. But it's innovative in terms that this is art. This is contemporary art that will go on a wall. What I really love about this image, yeah, you're right. You know, some of it is soft. Some it's not as crisp and perfect. But I'm looking at this as an art piece. I don't think graphically. I want this to float and to be soft and to be able to visually communicate and to embrace us. And that's what I'm doing. And I actually prefer that when I'm looking from a viewing distance, and I think this kind of image, you're viewing from a further away distance. So this is not an image where we're going up and we're looking for detail, because you don't actually get the concept of the family and being enveloped in that. But what I love about this particular image that takes me further, compositionally, I think this is stunning. You know, the way that the families relate, the fact that we can see, the dad, we can see the mum, we can see that based on the profiles, which I love. I love that the mouth positions are exactly the same. So this tells me, like, when you look at the mouths of the mum and the dad and the baby, they're all parted. And that, it just, to me, just gives that consistency of family and detail. So to me, yes, it's innovative. Compositionally, it's beautiful. I love the matting. It's really brave. It's out there. It's going to divide people, but I see it as gold.
Okay, we're talking about a gold here. So Selena on 82.
Are we on? Yep, awesome. Look, I think I've underscored this. All I see is a bird. It just keeps my brain just seriously just keeps going bird, and then hang on, bird, hang on. It just keeps flipping between the two. So the fact that it's almost confusing my brain. The fact that it's soft around the edges, I think, actually works with the fact that it looks like a bird or a bat, because to me, if something is moving or flying, it's not going to necessarily have sharp edges. It gives a sense of potential, a sense of movement, or a sense of that it's not just stagnant. So I think that the softness works for me. the bit that I would see as the beak, which is the bit that's kind of right in the middle, is actually sharp and pointy, like I would expect a beak to be. Whereas the rest of it is a bit blurry around the edges. So I'll be coming up. So yeah.
Did you want to talk? Roxanne?
Yeah, I think I love the graphic nature of this when it turned around and the matting, and I was looking at it from an innovation point of view. I do believe that it really has an incredible impact. I too found the distraction of the softness was the thing that held me back in terms of technique, because there were inconsistencies between the sharpness and the softness, and I've walked up to the print a couple of times to try and write that self. I'm more than happy to come up. I'm not sure in terms of whether I can come up to a goal because of that technique issue, but the visual innovation of using that technique, I think, is really outstanding.
Julie, your right of reply has got an opportunity.
Yeah, no, and I thank all my other judges for their excellent comments, because they pointed out other things. And like Mel said, to me, this is an art piece you sit back and look at. I noticed a little bit of unsharpness. I don't think it's massively unsharp. It is so minor. There's actually one visible hair off that baby's forehead, which if it was unsharp, that hair would be there. So I just think this is a piece you sit back and you question and you look at, but once you get it, it's absolutely like a stunning piece of art. I love the circle. I love the way the father has a little more weight to it, which also, as Mel pointed out, the profiles tell you who they are. There's no mistaking it. And it's perfectly positioned within that circle. It's certainly deserved of a gold. Ask everyone who suggested they would go up to go up.
Okay.
And those who didn't.
Rightio, Julie, you've set the challenge, haven't you? So everyone else can rescore if they wish. Please go ahead. We have a gold award at 90. Very good. Thank you for that discussion, judges. Next print, please. This image has scored 76. Okay, we have a challenge from Selena on 81. Everyone else is round from 77 down to 72.
Okay, so I've got a bit of work to do.
Yeah.
So I gave this just in that silver range because I thought it was something a little bit different. The way that the cars are sort of placed, they're all faced in the same direction. Some of them are a little bit blurry, some of them are sharper, which was one of the reasons I didn't take it up into a higher category. It does give me the impression that it obviously is a boy, because, actually we can't really generalise that in today's day and age, can we? But I thought it was just a little bit different, and it was a different take on something, on the newborn kind of posing and with the babies these days. But other than that, I thought it has a great little impact, and I thought it has, it's a nice little piece.
Now I'm going to ask Mel on 72, and then I'll probably jump to Roxanne on 77.
Yeah, I scored this in the professional practice area. And there's a couple of reasons. I do enjoy the concept of putting the cars around the baby. I do enjoy the concept. I just find maybe there's I find it over sharpened. I find some of the foot and the arm, I'd like those to be printed down a little bit more so that I'm actually drawn into that baby's gorgeous little face. Compositionally, I'd love to see the styling a little bit more cohesive. I like, you know, with the mat that the baby's on, you know, not quite matching that shape. I find that I'm really drawn into that. And I am distracted by, you know, if you're going to give me things in a tonal palette, yellows and blues, which are obviously contrasting, when they're soft, it's really going to grab my attention as colour pops, and then when they're soft, they kind of let me down. So for me, I love the concept. I just found the execution, I wanted it just refined a little bit more to bring it up into a silver award area.
Roxanne on 77, which is pretty close to average.
I think that this print is any family would be absolutely delighted to have up on their wall, which is why I scored it towards the higher, standard, but solidly in professional practice. There were a few elements from a handling point of view. I concur with Mel in terms of your print quality, just some overhandling with the baby, some highlights that are distracting, the variations in focus with the cars, all of those things just took it away from being in the award range. But I do think that, again, the parents would love to see this up on their wall, which is why I do believe professional practice.
Okay, Selena, I'll give you right of reply, please.
Yeah, I guess I was primarily rewarding the author just for giving us something different, because, you know, outside of, you know, seeing babies in typical poses, you know, this is something a little bit different. Yes, there are technical elements that are, you know, technical issues with it, the posing and that sort of stuff that has been mentioned, and I agree with those. That's why I haven't taken it higher than a silver, and I've in the silver range at an 81. And yes, I was just hoping that my judges would come up into an 80 to reward the fact that it is a different kind of concept and something a bit different to what we're normally seeing.
Thank you. So, Selena, your score of 81 stays. Everyone else has the opportunity to rescore. This image stays 6. Next print, please. We have a silver award at 83. Next print, please. Okay. By majority, 84, a silver award. And we might just have a comment by Selena's right on 84 as the average. You can. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately, this one can't be
Hang on a
challenged.
sec, Selena. Sorry. Our new judge has just asked whether she could challenge, and she can challenge. So are you challenging? Yeah, but you'll remain on the same score. Okay. You can. You're the only one that can.
The reason that I'm challenging this is because I've underscored this print. And I must admit that when I was looking at this, I probably re-entered my score about 3 or 4 times when I was looking at it. As I've stepped back, I think there's a simplistic beauty about it. The tone is right, and when I had initially looked at it, I thought that it was certainly in a very solid professional practice. So unusual for a challenge, but what I'm doing, I guess, is imploring other judges on the panel to come up and reward this print, because I do think that it deserves to be in a higher range.
Okay. Now, I'll just run through the scores quickly. It was 84 by majority, but the average score was 85. We had 2 judges on 88. Adam was one of those.
Thanks. Look, and I'd like to thank you for your bravery in challenging from underneath, and sometimes that's a difficult thing to do. We're wrong. We underscore prints all the time, and it's a very brave thing to be able to admit that. This print, the print itself, is just exquisite, like in its tone, and it's a very simplistic in its form, but everything you want to see, and it doesn't feel styled or sort of manipulated. It feels like a very real moment, and it's a guy, and it's very muscular, and you can see everything you want to see. Everything you want to see in that print to display. It's perfectly sort of it is a superior piece of communication in a very simple package, and that's I think it's a very strong silver distinction.
I go to Julie next because she's sitting on 84, which is the average.
Yeah, and like you, I feel I underscored it too, so I'm very proud of you for challenging that. I just think when something is a single capture and is so beautiful and so beautifully lit, so beautifully printed, the expression on the dad's face is gold. The baby is absolutely beautiful. Like, you can't fault the positioning of anything within this. The placement within the frame is absolutely exquisite. Yes, we've seen it before. It's not new, but how gorgeous. And I really do believe this is worthy of a silver with distinction or even higher, just for excellence in how it's been captured and completed.
Yeah, again, I'd just like to reiterate, Roxanne, you're a legend. Thank you. I think I've underscored this too. And as Julie said quite eloquently, it was your words that said this is just gold. And I guess I'm just raising that. This is, yes, it's simple, but, to shoot something simply and to light it beautifully and to be able, look at the composition, the way that the hands and the arm circle us back to the face and bring us around, and that baby, they've put it off to that, that top third on hand side. We've got, the negative space on the right-hand side. Compositionally, this is stunning. The way it has been lit is absolutely beautiful. There is no mistake. We are looking at that baby's face. That is exactly where we're meant to be. And then we have all the support of the beautiful texture in these fingers and the delicateness that is cradling that baby with that preciousness. And then we're drawn back in from that top with that expression that just gives you peace. That expression of that happiness and that joy. The printing is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm looking at this and saying, let's consider. For me, I think this sits as a gold. This is stunning. Just because it may have been, a style which we've seen before, this is absolutely beautifully done. And it is, let's reward it for all of those skills.
Okay. Right of reply, Roxanne.
I'm feeling pretty happy about the right of reply right about now. I'm grateful to hear these words, because I do believe that when we look at it not only exceeds professional practice, it really does show professional excellence in my mind. And again, I do believe that I significantly underscored it. I wish that I could change my score, so therefore I implore the rest of my fellow judges to make up for the error of my way.
Thank you, judges. Could you enter your new scores, please? We have a gold award. A gold award at 90. So congratulations, judges. That was wonderful. Yeah, that was very good. Roxanne, you were the only one that was capable of challenging, even though it was the other way. So that was very brave. Thank you. And with that, I might have a quick judges change so that before we move on to our next one, so we can all settle down again. Selena and Julie, I'll swap you for Sarah and Mark, please. Everyone can take a that one. Technology's catching up. Absolutely. Okay, there we go, judges. This image has scored an average of 78. And we have a challenge from Sarah on 83. And you have Adam with you on 80, but everyone else is 72, 78 sort of thing.
Excellent, thank you. Place this in solid silver, exceeding normal professional practice, with high levels of communication, craft and skill. That's more for to start me off with my head around it. When this came around, as someone who photographs fathers with newborn babies often, this has struck me as a unique image, worthy of awarding. I feel that it's showing how parenting as a new father can be. It's beautifully lit. There's a beautiful connection with the baby and the photographer. The father's holding that baby so awkwardly almost, and it is such a beautiful connection and real pose without being contrived, and I think it is beautiful. I love the tight crop where it's just nearly, well, it is pretty much just touching the top and the left and holding him in there beautifully, so that we're just drawn into that baby and we're completely drawn into the love he has for that baby. I think it has all the makings for a beautiful silver image.
Okay, Mel on 72.
Yeah, I put this into the professional practice area. I enjoy the moment. I think there is a great connection with the baby, and I applaud the photographer for that. For me, there was a couple of reasons. I saw the same kind of things, but I had a different reaction to them, as we do as judges. So I actually found the handling, yes, it was quite awkward, but the fingers at the bottom I found were quite claw-like. I had some issues with inconsistent softness throughout the image, that, you know, in some areas the baby was soft, and then there would be sharpness in some of the fabric area. I found the fabric, I was really drawn into it because it was obviously the lightest element, and I would have loved to have seen, I think the moment is absolutely gorgeous, but I want to really be drawn into that moment, and I want to compositionally just be surrounded by that beauty. So I want to see some of those distractions removed, but, you know, a lovely moment, and that's why I put it in professional practice.
Adam, on 80?
Yeah, look, I'm obviously sitting on the fence, but I was drawn to what you said when you said the awkwardness of the father, and it evokes memories for myself as well. And I think that's what drew me to it. Apart from the quality of the light, I think is quite lovely, and it's a very flattering light, and a very manly kind of light for him as well. It's a strong way of presenting, I think with a different light, and I think it may not have shown off that sort of masculinity, and yet still there's this softness about it. I'm happy with it as a low silver. I think it may take we have to look past some technical issues, but I'm still okay with it there.
Okay, Sarah, right of reply, please.
With the focus, I don't see the focus as a technical issue per se. I think that it has that plane of focus. So the plane of focus is the man's face and the baby's face, and that little bit of blanket that is in focus. That's just plane. If that had have been manipulated to lose its focus, you wouldn't notice that you may not notice that it had smoothed away, but you may notice that it has been manipulated, whereas now it makes sense because that's the focal plane. I don't mind his hand. I do understand what you mean by being claw-like. I think that is part of how, when you hold this baby, one hand is concentrating on being soft and focused, and the other one's just, don't drop it. It is a very natural, uncontrived pose. And I think it lends to the relationship between a father and a brand new baby. The connection there is the most stunning part, with the baby looking at the camera, the father's nose following down. I think it's worthy of a silver award. Come up, please.
Okay, so Sarah, your score of 83 stands. Everyone else has the opportunity to rescore. We have a silver award by majority of 80. Next print, please. This image has scored 76. Just a very quick comment from Sarah, please, on the average.
This photograph stands very well in good professional practice. The elements and the idea is quite lovely. It's not a new concept, which I think if it had been looked at with to keep it a bit more of a refreshed idea, it would have done better.
Thank you. Oh, yep.
The thing that sort of stands out to me as I sort of look and want to analyse it, actually, even though the subject is holding the baby, I don't feel a connection between the two of them. It's almost like it's pushed out towards us, and I feel like that may be what sort of is sort of keeping me in that. It's not taking that emotional kind of connection out where it could, where it may come up in the scores and beyond professional practice.
Thank you. Next print, please. We have a silver award at 83. And Adam, on 83, the average?
I would be really interested to hear other people. I find it actually quite a difficult image to read, and I think that's kind of actually a good thing in some ways, is that you can interpret your own story out of this, whether this is, you know, the figures, you know, maybe these pictures represent people within a baby's lives, or whether, you know, and or different points of life, maybe it's different babies. I think that's what intrigues me about the image. It is well lit and well presented, and, you know, very clean, and I think there's an intrigue. I actually quite interested to hear stories about it, but, you know, it has a lot of possibilities, and I think that's why we responded to it.
And Roxanne wanted to say something quickly.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to the print. I think it's a really delightful palette. I think it's got a lovely story, and there are so many different ways that you can read into the different characters that are actually within this element. With the way that the newborn little is looking directly at the camera too, I just think it's been a delightful capture and sits well within that solid silver range.
Yeah, why not?
Completely agree. Obviously, I saw this as an image of species, they were all baby species, and that's what I looked at. I guess the comment that I wanted to make is, if you're looking maybe at doing things to this image, one thing that I'd maybe consider, I do find that the shadow to the right of the cot is quite soft. The shadows up beside the frames are quite harsh. I'd look at maybe lightening some of those shadows a little bit, just so that it reduces the density at that top where where we're kind of drawn to. Don't know whether other people agree. Yeah, but I just think if possibly for nationals, it may be worth something considering.
Thank you. Next print, please. This image has scored 77. And a quick comment from Melissa, right on the average there, please.
Yeah, I think this is a really different way of presenting something. I enjoy from the sizes, the opacity, and the storyline that we've obviously got there with the finish resolving. It sits well in professional practice, and well done.
Thank you. Next print, please. This image has scored 73. And I might ask Mark, you're right on the average. Could you just comment on this one? And in the meantime, Roxanne, would you like Robin?
Yeah, I scored this print 73. I just find that the lighting on the little girl's back is really harsh and not as well controlled. There's lots of elements in there going on with being outdoors and in a car and flipping and headbands and all types of things. It's just not congruent in telling the story completed.
Thank you kindly. Next print, please. This image has scored by majority 79. Yep. Robin's scored this 84 and is challenging. You've got Adam with you on 83.
I have this in the silver category. I do believe it's a really interesting, unique concept. Haven't seen anything quite like it before. I'm a big fan of Nutella, I have to say. And I think this family is as well. The chocolate theme carries all the way through. Conceptually, I think it's just really, really clever and cute and quirky. Enjoying the colour palette as well, because it's that sort of like really, really kind of chocolatey texture all the way through, as well as the colour tones. And just the way that the sizes are almost exactly perfectly correct, and at the end you've got this great big tub with the little Bubba sitting inside. Enjoying her expression on her face, Hazel, gorgeous little girl. But yeah, Silver Award due to creativity and giving us something new and different in newborn. I think it's fabulous.
On 76.
Yeah, I put this in, sort of smack bang in professional practice, and I'll do even better once I can see the print. Yep, awesome. Look, I loved the concept that you're talking about. I really enjoyed that and the storylines of the different words all the way from an idea or a dream to the realisation. So I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the different sizing. Compositionally, I found that I felt a little bit heavy-handed on the right-hand side, and I feel a little bit uncomfortable with that. I'd love to see a little bit more space for this baby to exist. I feel a little bit hemmed in, and I also feel it's just compositionally. I feel like the shelf's going to fall over on the right-hand side because the light's leading from the left-hand side. So I've got the most amount of light hitting the shelf there, and then it goes into darkness and shadows and sort of weight on that side. So I felt a little bit uncomfortable with that. I enjoyed the concept. I would just like to have seen compositionally just a little bit more room to breathe and space. But I had it at 76. I'm happy to,
Adam's keen on 83.
Yeah, look, and to be honest, the sometimes you could say you'd be nuts to have a baby or something like that, but that's what came into my head, like, because you see, but it's the payoff at the end. There's all this, it's the hazelnut, and there's Hazel. What a great, simple, cute way, especially if you love Nutella. I don't really enjoy it, but and it's even in the pose, like it's sort of like even there's this long build up and then out pops the baby, like the baby really sort of looks like it's being squeezed out of the top of that thing, and that's look, take it as you want. To me, the actual I'll be back to serious now. To me, I nearly put this in the silver distinction, but I kind of found some elements around the bottom was maybe a little overstyled or a little bit. It sort of cluttered up what was a very simple, succinct message that I think was communicated really, really well. And I'm definitely with you that I think it should be a solid silver.
Okay, Robin, right of reply, please.
Absolutely. I love rewarding fresh, new and different. And I also love when photographers can shoot an image that actually says something about that family. Not every family is going to have this on their wall, but I love the photographers gone that extra mile. They know it's a quirky, nutty family, and they've produced an image to replicate that.
Okay, with all those puns, let's have a scoring, please. We have, when it pops up, silver awarded 81. Next print, please. This image is a silver award at 84. Yep. Robin on 83.
I would love to have gone distinction with this. I just find it's just so heavy down the bottom. I would have loved to see the detail on those beautiful waves, because there's actually some really, really lovely moments all the way through there. And yeah, a bit lighter so we can see some of the detail in there, and a little bit lighter in feel in general. And I think it could have gone a fair bit higher.
Okay, we'll have a quick judge change. Adam for William, please. And we ready? Next print, please. This image has scored 71. Robin, do you want to make a comment on 72?
Yeah, I think this just sneaks into the professional standard category for me. I like the skin tones. I'm struggling with the texture that's throughout it. It's sort of a leafy pattern, and I'm not really sure what the photographer's trying to communicate there.
Thank you. Next print, please. We have a silver award at 81. Sarah, I'm going to get you to speak to this one on 82.
The tones through this image are beautiful. I love the texture with the blue embryo-ness. It kind of gives it that astral sort of feeling that really led to the... wow, inarticulate. It's like the astral feeling for the little embryo that's about to be formed out of space with that needle coming through. I love the composition with the needle breaking in and giving it to those rough thirds, and the little bubbies are beautifully sharp. The feet, the colour toning of the feet need to have careful attention. They're quite purpley pink compared to the rest of the baby's body. I just tweaked a little bit. I think it could go far if it's been looking to take it to APA.
Thank you. Very good. Next print, please. This image has scored 74. And Mark on 74.
Okay, so I stood at 74. For a concept for the family, it's really beautiful in the professional practice, but it's just so heavily worked and just handled. It's if you could bring it back a little bit, make it a little bit soft a little bit, and get some detail where there's need to be at the back on it's just been overworked. To just kind of come back a little bit.
William wants to say something.
Just very quickly, the print, you're losing the sort of the woods that we can see there, so it's really lost the detail.
Thank you. Next print, please. This image has scored 75. And yes, you can if you want to. Okay, we have a challenge from Mel on 82. You've got a 70, 71, 74, 78.
Yeah, I put this in as a low silver. I enjoyed the softness and the quietness to this image and the flow to it, and that's why I sort of rewarded it in that area. Compositionally, I really enjoy the texture of the fabric going in with the baby, you know, the elbow leading up, and it's got this peaceful expression that seems really believable, you know, like relaxing by a lake with, you know, the texture of wind coming past. So I really enjoyed that softness. The delicateness of the black and white, you know, it's not, this is a quiet image, and I just enjoyed the feeling and rewarded it as a low silver. So let's have a chat.
Wrong one. I'd have you playing musical chairs before the end of the morning, wasn't I? Okay, William on 71.
I think we've got to be careful here. You're talking about a award image. We've got some spots up there.
Hang on, Will.
I'm on? I think I'm on.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
We've got some spots on there. Okay, they're minor, but, you know, I can't agree. The flatness doesn't make it soft and gentle to me. These spots are in the blacks up above. Yeah, look, I think you've got to be careful here of what you're wanting in a wall.
Okay, Sarah's on 74, which is closest to the average.
I tend to agree with William. For me, the image is quite muddy and uncontrasty. You know, in the skin tones. I don't mean like the overall, just the skin tones have a bit of muddiness about them. The pose has just the position of the baby's head just needs to have been posed a bit more professionally. You know, whilst overall the picture is really pleasing and it's really lovely professional practice, I don't see it up in the award spectrum. Okay,
Mel, right of reply.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, there's 5 of us here for a reason. You know, we work as a team, so I enjoyed the areas that I saw. It's a team decision, and that's how we get to collective score. So, yeah.
Okay, Mel's score of 82 stays the same, but you can all change your score if you feel. It's crept up to 76. Next print, please. We have an average score of 73. And William, sitting on 72, would you make a comment, please?
Yeah, it's very flat, and the propping on the left-hand side is quite distracting in terms of they're out of focus, and on the right-hand side they're in focus. So I think it's a nice idea, but I just go back and sort of basically reshoot it.
And Mel?
Yeah, I think it's obviously we're looking at some mixed lighting source. I'm presuming there's some natural light but I just say look at the shadows that you're looking at, so you can sort of see there's quite strong shadows on the baby from the texture and also from the legs. So when you are reshooting, just consider that kind of thing as well.
Thank you kindly. Next image, please. We have by majority a silver award at 80. And William on 81. Do you want to? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My only hesitancy about speaking is having just spoken before, and I'm sort of like sitting in the middle, and that's something that I feel about.
I know.
No, yeah. I think it's a really nice idea. I just think you need to just be a little bit more creative with your lighting. It just looks sort of so mixed.
Okay, Mark.
That's right. So I scored 77. It's one of those things that you've got the concept, but it's the execution of the actual concept, and I didn't take it into silver range just because the idea's there, but it's the execution of the idea, the placement of the baby, the lighting, coming up with something that makes us understand the story, which we can, but to tell it in a way that's not just put down on leaves and then have a female test kind of shoved behind the baby's back. So it's a more delicate, that's all.
Okay.
I just wanted to reiterate that I was also in professional practice in the 70s, so I'm stoked at where it's got. But I love the concept of this, and I think with improved execution, I think this could go much, much higher. So I really want to, keep going with that thought process because it's fabulous. The concept is just amazing.
Thank you. Next print, please. Okay, we have a silver award at 82, and we have a challenge before I even get to say it. Mark's on 88, and I'll accept that challenge. You've got two people on 78 and 75, but the other two are in the 80s.
Okay. Okay, so I scored this 88. The colour palette is just absolutely exquisite. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I think the placement of the baby in the basket coming from the right that goes to the left that just touches those little toes that you just want to squeeze. Across the face is just beautifully placed. I really love the paper choice, the quality of just the printing throughout the entire print is just exquisite. I would love to hear more about from other people. It's a beautiful print. It's printed well. The paper choice, the lighting that's just touching those toes and the knees and the other toe and the face on the side. I'd love to hear a bit more. I'm in silver distinction.
And Robin on 78.
Yeah, look, I enjoyed the colour palette. I love the browns, particularly with the skin tone of the baby. I think it all flows through really, really nicely. I couldn't get this above professional standard. I really struggled with the concept. I'm not exactly sure what the photographer's trying to say here. It's an autumn portrait, yeah. It's a beautiful example of floral arrangement, but I really don't get what it has to do with the baby. The baby is, looking beautiful and tucked up. Perhaps it was born in autumn. I'm not sure. But to be a silver award, I'm looking for that next level of thinking beyond sort of beautiful flower arranging, beautiful placement of leaves and so forth. So yeah, I'd need a bit more.
Okay, I'm going to go to Sarah, then William. Sarah's on 84.
I'm happy with where I've scored this print in silver. There's just the slight differences between silver and silver distinction. For me, this has the narrative. It's beautifully communicated. I read it as the baby perhaps being Canadian, with the maple leaf type leaf. Might have a bit of a cultural thing about it. Visually, it's beautifully and stunning. The part that let me down was the discrepancies with the shadowing with the baby. Around the baby's head seems to have been the shadowing. I'm having difficulty reconciling in my head, which is why I've sat it
84.
beautifully in silver, and am interested to see what is said in reply.
William on 75.
Yeah, look, I think in hindsight I was harsh. However, Sarah's already said about the differences in lighting, and I really do feel it's plonked. The baby's been separately shot, and it doesn't marry up well. Also, pretty much 50% left-hand side does go out of focus. It is a great print, but with all due respect, you haven't told me anything about it other than it's being a good print, good image, and in your writing, I'm going to hear why you've given it a silver distinction, but I really should be responding to why you've given it a silver distinction.
Okay. She wants to. Mel's on 85, so she's in the silver with distinction too, but just...
Yeah, so I sat here going 84, 85, 84, 85. What I really, obviously I enjoy the print. I enjoy the tonal range. I particularly love the little textural elements that have been dotted throughout. There's beautiful little elements of sharpness, from the overall, but then also, the little flower details that the light has picked up so delicately through to some on the right-hand side of the little textures of the leaves and the fronds of the fern and that sort of thing. To me, I saw this as a very organic image, and that was the feel that I had, that it was earthy, it was organic, it was about creation, so I just kind of went with that. I found that I enjoyed the flow, the flourish, the colours, and to me, it communicated that warmth, that joy of something blooming and blossoming and going into the next level. So I put it at 85.
Okay, Mark, with your right of reply.
Okay, so with the textures and the colours and the leaves and the maple leaf, it could be Canadian descent, it could be an Aboriginal descent. You could kind of pick out a story of that earthiness from anywhere, with the colour tones of the baby as well, which is beautifully beautiful. I actually think the lighting has done exquisitely well, that it's just got all the right spots. It's just got the toes and the face and the hands, and then the lighting that's put across the leaves and the texture to bring up all that beautiful detail. It's printed beautifully. well. Sometimes the simplicity of the print is what is all that it's kind of needed, that you don't need to have such a dramatic story, that it's for what the print is, and it's got all the elements that makes that the photographer's thought about all the way through, that nothing's jumping out in terms of like smacking it in the face kind of with the story, but the overall image is just very well balanced, and it just makes your eyes just do loops and loops from the toes to the top to come back. So the placement of the baby, and it's just really well thought out, and I would love to reward the photographer. We've got 2 at standard at silver distinction, and we're not far on my right hand side. Come and join me.
Okay, so Mark stays at 88. We have a score of 84. Next image, please. No? Selena. We have a silver award at 82. And I'll get Robin on 82 to have a word.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this in the silver category. It's really making me think, and I think when you have an image that comes around and you spend a serious amount of time contemplating what is it that the photographer is trying to tell us here. It's a very, very dark newborn image on many, many facets, and I'm really enjoying its originality.
Thank you. Yep, William.
Just very quickly, if you can, if the author's here, just the white swaddling, that just needs to come down a little bit.
Okay, next print, please. Okay. Adam, do you want to just step in for this one, please? We have a silver award at 80. Sarah, do you want to say something at 82?
Congratulations to the photographer for a silver award. I have really enjoyed. It was interesting to look at this photograph because we're trained to look at shadows and highlights and different technical things, and I really love how the photographer has managed to keep the shadowy parts of the womb that they're creating over the baby in fit the womb rather than what we would look at as shadows on a baby photograph just naturally. It was very clever.
Okay. Thank you kindly. Okay. Well, next print, please. Or blank screen, please. That's it for this category, everybody. So I'd like to thank you very kindly for all your hard work. And Roxanne, congratulations on your first of judging. Well done. And apparently we have some of you due to move in next door straight away, so I'm sorry.